What is up, everyone, and welcome to Video Game Book Club, and welcome to our review of Mega Man 11, Capcom's 11th entry into the Blue Bomber franchise. This time around, we see that Mega Man gets a new ability, but we'll get into that later on in the video. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Mega Man 11, or Rockman 11 Gears of Fate, is Capcom's 11th entry into the Blue Bomber franchise. I've been a fan of the series for as long as I can remember, ever since getting the password from my neighbor in order to go directly to Wily's Castle in Mega Man 2, I have been hooked. So when I heard Capcom was opening the door on an 8-year hiatus from Mega Man 10 and giving us a brand new Mega Man, I was completely overjoyed.
I wasn't. I'm not a huge fan of the original series or any of the numbered Mega Man games. It's not because they're too hard for me, I just don't enjoy how they feel or play. Okay, maybe them being hard does have a little something to do with it, but honestly, each game is just more of the same. You play as Mega Man, and you defeat 8 robot masters before moving on to Dr. Wily. At least the X series did a little something different to spice the formula up. And maybe with this new gear system, that will be all the spice I need to enjoy Mega Man 11.
Mega Man 11 dumps the art style from 9 and 10 when Capcom decided to go back to the pixel art well, and instead brings us this 2.5D visual style, reminiscent of something Mighty No. 9 tried to do a while back. Seeing this for the first time when it was initially announced wasn't something I was too keen on. It took a while for me to come around and realize that Capcom was doing what needed to be done. They had to make a break from pixel art while also taking shots at Mighty No. 9. Whether intentional or not, the comparisons are easy between the two. As much as I enjoy the new art style, I can't say I prefer it over something pixel art for my Mega Man games.
Exactly. Mega Man 11 gives off incredibly strong Mighty No. 9 vibes with this art style. And to be honest, I would have preferred pixel art over this. With the advancements we've seen, games have been able to use pixel art in some incredible ways. A Mega Man game with the graphic stylings of something like The Messenger or Dead Cells could have been an incredible piece of eye candy. The subtle movements in the backgrounds of levels is nice, and doesn't distract from the action taking place in the foreground. Overall, Capcom did a pretty decent job at making the level feel alive and more interesting. I'm not saying the art direction is terrible or the downfall of the Mega Man franchise, because let's be honest, that started with the original Mega Man. However, I am saying this direction wasn't what I was looking for after having a terrible experience with Mighty No. 9, a very similar looking game. Although I will say Mega Man 11 did this style much better than Mighty No. 9 could have ever dreamed of doing. The music here is also well thought out, with some remix callbacks to the classic games from past generations.
Sadly though, nothing is as memorable as the Mega Man 2 title track or the Wily Castle theme. The title screen track to me may be the one that stuck with me the longest once I switched off the game. The other musical arrangements for Mega Man 11 are fine. They fit the game while you're playing it, but you won't be thinking of them 2 or 3 hours after you finished playing. We can't talk about audio presentation without mentioning the voice acting. While not nearly as terrible as Mega Man 8,
we may be able to locate another energy emission from the radar room. When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wily.
The dialogue again rang in vibes of Mighty No. 9. Remaining much more subtle, however, Mega Man 11's voice acting does what it needs to do. Adds a little bit to the overall feel of the game, helps progress the story slightly, and keeps the player engaged. There's never a moment when I felt it was intrusive or overstayed its welcome. Good job, Capcom. You have learned an excellent lesson from that terrible job in Mega Man 8.
How a game looks and sounds is certainly important to the overall enjoyment, but the real detail is in how the game plays. And Mega Man 11 plays incredibly well. Comparing 11 to past Mega Man games I've played, barring any of the X titles, this iteration feels much more responsive to my inputs. I feel like he jumps when I tell him to jump and slides when I tell him to slide. Overall, the controls are just much better than past entries, and because of that, 11 feels way easier to me than any of the original NES games.
I will absolutely agree. Mega Man feels like he does what I tell him to do now. Charging your buster, sliding, swapping between abilities, and using the new gear system all feel smooth and crisp. And since we're talking about the new gear system, we may as well touch on the biggest addition to the franchise, which is that of the double gear system. This new mechanic grants Mega Man 2 additional abilities right from the start of the game: the speed gear and the power gear. The power gear lets Mega Man slow down time, allowing him to dodge attacks or get through tricky level sequences, while the power gear increases the attack power of Mega Man's different weapons. To keep people from spamming the new system, the gears will overheat if they are used too much, and when you're near death, both gears can be activated for an incredibly powerful charge shot. However, this can only be used once and leaves you in a very weakened state.
The classic Mega Man staples are still around. You again battle through 8 Robot Master levels on your way to Dr. Wily. Along the way, as you defeat the different bosses, you gain their ability, just like you did in the other 10 games. The parts shop and bolts are still around, and thankfully so. Being able to upgrade different powers and purchase E-Tanks among other goodies really helped add some enjoyment to my time with Mega Man 11. I was able to collect bolts that carry over in order to help me get past some of the tricky sections. This really makes 11 more accessible to a wider audience. To further the reach into the new swath of players, Mega Man 11 gives you 4 difficulty settings: Newcomer, Casual, Normal, and Superhero. I of course played on Superhero because secretly, I'm actually really good at these games. I just pretend to hate them because they're actually just too easy. Look, this is a Mega Man game. Don't we all know the story by now?
Know the story by now. Yeah, okay. Like, I haven't heard that one 10 times before, and mostly from you. But you know what? I'll admit that's not entirely wrong. Although Capcom did try to add a little something to the backstory of the Dr. Wily and Dr. Light feud. In his late years, Dr. Wily recalls an invention from his past where himself and Dr. Light actually studied together. At the time, Dr. Wily created the double gear system that was made to push the robots past their physical limitations. However, the committee, led by Dr. Light, shut down the project due to the fear and danger of pushing robots that far.
Of course, Dr. Wily now finishes the double gear system and steals 8 of Dr. Light's robots to help him conquer the world. Dr. Light sees no other option and reluctantly allows Mega Man to have a prototype double gear system installed so he can stop Dr. Wily. After defeating 4 of the Robot Masters, we're treated to the backstory of the double gear system Clay talked about, and why the friendship between Light and Wily was ended. Finish off the remaining Robot Masters and head to the Gear Fortress, defeat my favorite boss, the Yellow Devil Mark III, and make your way to the typical boss rush.
After defeating all of the Robot Masters again, you get to take on Dr. Wily and his new Wily machine, enhanced by the double gear system. After you defeat him, Dr. Wily enacts his sinister Plan B, or what we like to call begging for mercy, like he has done so many times in the past. Of course, Wily is convinced Mega Man only beat him because of his double gear technology. After some dialogue in which Light tries to get Wily to join his side, Wily escapes as his fortress begins to collapse. Mega Man, along with Dr. Light and Otto, manage to escape while saving the Robot Masters. Post-credits, we see Dr. Light has equipped Otto with the double gear system and is in the process of repairing all 8 robots. Again, that brings back memories of how the Mighty Numbers turned good after Beck defeated them. It's like they were trying to do what Mighty Number 9 did. Oh, it's weird.
For me, Mega Man 11 was a nice break from the brutal NES games. I would have preferred pixel art as opposed to the 2.5D, as it seemed like they only did it to show Mighty Number 9 up, and I really disliked that game. I'm glad Mega Man fans like Clay and countless others got a new, modern Mega Man game. However, I am firmly in the camp of wanting a new Mega Man X game. I loved X1, 2, and 3. Maybe we can just forget X4 through 8 ever happened and get something on the same level as the original 3 titles.
I really enjoyed playing through Mega Man 11. It felt new, but similar at the same time. The art style didn't bother me like I thought it would, although it would have been nice to see Capcom take on the modern pixel art style. They certainly showed Mighty Number 9 how it's done, and I personally don't need the voice acting in a Mega Man game, but they did it well, although they'll never erase my memories of Mega Man 8. And that's going to be a wrap on Mega March and Mega Man 11. This video is of course just mine and Daniel's opinions, and we would love to hear yours in that comment section below. So go ahead, hop down there, and let us know how you feel about Capcom's 11th entry into the Mega Man series. We will see you all later. Take care, everyone. Well, thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. Here's 2 more videos just in case you enjoyed what you saw in this one, and if you really enjoyed it, feel free to like and subscribe, and also click that little bell icon just so you get updated every time we post a new video. And until next time, take care.